Welcome to Shatter.
Support the channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing. I promise even more interesting stories. The night she told me to find someone else if I wanted intimacy, I didn't raise my voice. I didn't flinch. I just looked at her, really looked at her, and something inside me stopped pretending. You ever feel the moment a switch flips? That was it. Not anger, not heartbreak, just silence. Cold, focused, calculated. Earlier that evening, I had grilled chicken on the back patio. Candles, music, her favorite red. I was trying, stupidly, maybe, to spark something that had been gone for a while. She barely touched her plate, kept scrolling. Then out of nowhere, she put down her fork and said it. If you want intimacy so bad, maybe you should find someone else. She even laughed. Not nervous laughter. That cruel kind. Like she knew she'd finally landed the gut punch. I didn't respond. I didn't give her what she wanted. No outburst, no wounded ego. I just stared at her for a beat too long, nodded once, and cleared the table. In her mind, that was it. Her power move landed. She went to bed thinking she'd won some invisible argument. What she didn't know was that I'd already known. I had seen the text 3 nights before, just enough to know it wasn't just the girls at that bar downtown. A blurry photo of her best friend Melissa at the same rooftop spot. Same dress, same earrings. But the reflection in the window behind her? A guy's arm around a waist. And not Melissa's waist. I zoomed in. It was my wife. So yeah, I knew. I had spent the last 72 hours in silence, watching her, taking note of everything. The extra effort on her hair. The fake smiles when she got a late-night text. The way she locked her screen every time I passed by. All those girls' night plans with Melissa. The same Melissa who told me back in 2022 she had a crush on me. Before you two even got serious. So when she said it, find someone else, it didn't hurt. It clarified. She went to bed early that night, probably texting him. I sat on the couch with a glass of scotch, listening to the echo of her words, playing them back on loop like a scene I was done rehearsing. And then I made a decision. I opened my phone, found Melissa's number, and sent a single message. Still feel the same? 3 dots appeared. Then a reply. More than ever. That's when I smiled. Not because I wanted revenge. Because I finally saw her game and realized she was playing checkers while I was already setting the board for chess. She wanted me to find someone else? Message received. The next evening, Melissa pulled up to my place in a sleek black SUV. Not her usual beat-up sedan. She stepped out looking different, sharper, intentional. She wasn't dressed for seduction. No heels, no perfume. Just a dark hoodie, tight jeans, and a look that said she wasn't here to flirt. The moment she walked in, I knew something was off. Her usual smirk was gone. She didn't even sit down, just stood near the counter, holding her phone like it was loaded. Before you say anything, she said, you need to see this. She tapped a few times and turned the screen to me. It was my wife. At some party I didn't recognize. Her arm draped over a guy I didn't know. Too close for it to be innocent. Her hand slid into his back pocket, like she'd done to me 1,000 times before. She was smiling. That fake, flirty smile she used to reserve for me in the early days. Melissa didn't flinch. That was 2 weeks ago. She told him you two were already separated. That you were sleeping in different rooms. That you were toxic and jealous. I didn't speak. I just stared. The audio played next. Slurred laughter. My wife's voice saying, if he finds out, who cares? He's soft. He won't do a damn thing. Melissa locked her phone and set it on the counter. Her eyes were cold now. She used me, too. All those girls' nights, she just needed a cover. She thought if I was with her, you'd never question it. I asked her why she was telling me all this now. Melissa looked down, then back up. Because I realized she's not just disrespecting you. She's dragging me down with her. And I'm done being her shield. I believed her. Not because I wanted to. Because something in her voice cracked when she said it. Not weakness, regret. She reached into her bag and pulled out an envelope. This is everything. Screenshots, messages, photos. Use it however you want. Or don't. I'm out either way. Then she turned, walked to the door, paused with her hand on the handle. She's going to blame me for everything. Say I seduced you. Say I lied. But you should know, she's been planning her exit for months. She just didn't expect you to stay this quiet. And with that, she was gone. I sat there, envelope in hand, silence wrapping around me like armor. She thought I was soft, that I wouldn't do a damn thing. Good, because that gave me time. Time to prepare. Time to decide what to do with every ounce of evidence in my hands. She said I should find someone else if I wanted intimacy. Maybe she should have clarified what kind of intimacy I'd find when it came wrapped in betrayal, packaged with receipts, and delivered by her best friend. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was hurt. That stage was long gone. I stayed awake because something had shifted, and I wanted to feel it settle into place. The version of me that begged for her attention, that stayed up wondering what I'd done wrong, that planned anniversary dinners she'd forget, that version was gone. She killed him. Slowly. With silence. With locked screens. With gaslighting dressed up as empowerment. So, I gave her what she wanted. The next morning, I didn't text her. Didn't call. I knew she had plans to be at her weekly networking brunch. Another lie I had stopped pretending to believe. By noon, I had what I needed. Melissa agreed. Just one photo. Not posed. Not suggestive. Just us. Casual. Real. Her hair still slightly messy from the night before, wrapped in my hoodie, curled up on my couch with a coffee mug in her hands. I took the picture and sent it. No caption. No explanation. Just the image. 3 dots appeared immediately. Then nothing. 10 minutes later, I got a response. It wasn't a question. It wasn't denial. It was a video. She was sitting outside on some cafe patio, sunglasses on, wine glass in hand. She turned the camera to herself and smiled. A slow, deliberate smile. Then she laughed. Not confusion. Not anger. That same laugh she gave me the night she told me to find someone else. She leaned into the camera and said it like it was a joke between old friends. Guess you finally listened. Then she winked. I stared at the screen, waiting for a second wave of emotion. Nothing came. She thought she was still in control. She thought this was a game I was playing for her. She didn't understand. That picture wasn't for attention. It wasn't for revenge. It was confirmation. Confirmation that she had nothing left to hold over me. Because her laughing? That didn't make her stronger. It made her transparent. That smile told me one thing. She had already emotionally checked out, and this wasn't a betrayal to her. It was a free pass. But what she didn't know was that I wasn't done. Not by a long shot. Melissa's envelope sat on my desk. I hadn't opened it yet. I didn't need to. Her reaction had already told me everything I needed to know. But that envelope wasn't for me anymore. It was for later. For court, maybe. For her family. For anyone who ever questioned why I walked away without a single explanation. She wanted silence. She was going to choke on it. It started with a notification I wasn't supposed to see. A random alert from our joint credit card, except the purchase didn't match anything we used together. A hotel stay across town. Booked under her name. For 3 nights. That was my first clue. I didn't react. I just clicked deeper. Cross-referenced email addresses, login histories, payment histories. I already knew what I was going to find. I wasn't searching for the truth. I was collecting receipts. Turns out, she had a second bank account. One I never knew about. Created 6 months ago. Quiet deposits, small enough not to raise suspicion. A few returns from stores she never actually shopped at. Venmo transfers from names I didn't recognize. But what hit hardest was the timing. 6 months ago, I'd taken a week off work for our anniversary. Booked us a cabin in Vermont. The one with the hot tub and the fireplace she swore she loved. I remember surprising her with it. Her eyes had lit up, and she kissed me like she meant it. That same week, she opened the account. While I was packing sweaters and wine, she was setting up her escape fund. That's when it stopped being personal. This wasn't about another man. This wasn't even about love. It was strategy. She had decided to leave me long before she ever said a word. And she kept playing the part. Dinners, sex, laughter, while siphoning off a life raft for herself. The photo with Melissa? That wasn't betrayal to her. It was a release clause. Now she could leave guilt-free. She could tell her friends I cheated. That I disrespected the relationship. That I went after her best friend. Let me take the fall. Let me be the villain. And that's when I understood what I had to do. I wasn't going to stop her from leaving. I wasn't going to beg her to stay or demand answers she'd only twist into lies. But I wasn't going to let her rewrite the story either. The account, the hotel, the texts, the video, everything was being documented. Quietly, neatly, no confrontation, no warning, just precision. She thought silence meant surrender. She thought I was too soft to draw lines. But while she was planning an exit, I was designing a purge. Not just removing her from my life. Removing her influence. Her access. Her power. She wanted out. She was going to get exactly that. But it wouldn't be clean. It would be surgical. It was a Thursday when I changed the locks. No text. No warning. Just a locksmith at noon and a quiet thank you as he handed me the new keys. It was the same house. Same door. Same furniture. But it wasn't hers anymore. That night, I transferred our remaining joint funds into a separate account with only my name on it. She wouldn't even notice until her next Starbucks run got declined. By the time the bank froze the joint card, she was posting filtered selfies from a rooftop bar, glass of wine in hand, pretending her life was carefree. I watched from a distance, letting her build the illusion. She thought I was sulking. She thought I'd lash out, throw accusations, maybe even go begging. But I didn't need an audience. I needed silence. So I gave her the quiet she never respected, weaponized. By Saturday morning, she came home. Not because she missed me. Because her world started glitching. The code to the front door didn't work. Her key did nothing. She knocked. Then rang. Then knocked again, harder this time. I didn't open it. Didn't even move. I let her knock until the silence made more noise than a scream. Eventually, I watched her from the upstairs window. Her phone glued to her ear. Her voice rising. Her frustration turning to confusion, then panic. She tried to laugh again. But this time it didn't land. Because it wasn't a game anymore. It was real. She was locked out, literally and metaphorically. And that smile she wore so easily? It cracked. I waited an hour after she left, then went downstairs and opened the door to stillness. No scent of her perfume lingering in the hallway. No shoes kicked off carelessly at the door. No chaos. Just clean, sharp silence. I made a drink. Sat on the couch. Scrolled through the messages Melissa had forwarded me earlier that day. One she found after digging into their group chat. Screenshots of my wife mocking me. Calling me clueless. Joking that I'd probably cry when she eventually bounced. No anger. Just clarity. She didn't just want freedom. She wanted power. And the only way to kill that kind of power is to make yourself unreachable. Not blocked. Not ghosted. Unreachable. She texted me 3 times that night. First confused. Then demanding. Then pretending to be concerned. I didn't answer. Didn't delete. Just archived. She wanted distance. She got it. Complete, strategic, surgical distance. And the thing about silence is, it never says too much. But it always says enough. The funny thing about people like her is they never expect consequences. They think charm is currency and silence means forgiveness. They don't realize silence can be a sentence. After she got locked out, she tried leaning on the only person she thought she still controlled, Melissa. But Melissa didn't answer either. Not a call. Not a text. Not a single reaction to her desperate Instagram stories dressed up as fun. The same best friend she used as an alibi had gone radio silent. Because I wasn't the only one she underestimated. Melissa had her own reasons for stepping back, and none of them had anything to do with me. Turns out, once Melissa realized the extent of the manipulation, she didn't want to be anywhere near the wreckage. My wife had used her as cover, fed her half-truths, and twisted stories so cleanly that even Melissa started questioning her own memories. Now, the silence was spreading. I didn't ask Melissa to go quiet. I didn't need to. People don't like being pawns, especially when they realize they were never part of the strategy, just part of the cover. So when my wife texted Melissa, "Can you believe what he did?" There was no reply. When she called twice in a row, Melissa declined the second ring. When she finally sent a voice note, pretending to laugh it off like she always did. "Girl, this man really thinks he can play me?" Melissa listened once, then deleted it. She didn't send it to me. Didn't need to. The silence spoke louder. She was done protecting someone who only saw her as a tool. And when my wife figured that out, she panicked. Her text to me the next day said, "We need to talk. Please." I didn't reply. The one after that was longer. She said she never meant for things to go this far. That she made mistakes. That she missed how things used to be. I read it once. Then again. Then I archived that one too. By then, the version of me that wanted closure was long gone. There was nothing she could say that would undo the last 6 months of quiet cruelty. And now, the woman who thought she had everyone wrapped around her finger was finding herself completely alone. No access. No ally. No leverage. The walls weren't just closing in. They were gone. Because the silence she laughed at, the cold I gave her, it wasn't a phase. It was permanent. And she was starting to feel the vacuum left behind. Not just from me, but from the world she once controlled. It was time. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need to destroy her publicly. But I did need the truth to exist beyond the walls of our home. So I invited her family over. Just her parents and her younger sister, Megan. No drama. No spectacle. Just a quiet dinner at the house she could no longer enter. I didn't tell them much over the phone. Just said I needed to explain what was happening before they heard it from someone else. They came dressed like they were bracing for a funeral. Her father sat stiff, jaw clenched, while her mother held her purse in her lap like a shield. Megan looked confused, curious, maybe even a little suspicious. I opened with the facts. No accusations. No bitterness. Just screenshots. Hotel reservations. The second bank account. The message where she told Melissa I was too weak to ever leave. Then I played them the video, the one she had sent me, where she laughed at the photo of me and Melissa like it was a punchline. The room went dead silent. Her mother's hand went to her mouth. Her father leaned forward, elbows on knees, not saying a word. Megan's face changed first, shock, then anger, then disappointment. I didn't editorialize. Didn't add anything. I didn't need to. Her father finally asked, "And she doesn't know you've done all this?" I shook my head. She still thinks I'm just hurt. Still thinks she has the upper hand. Her mother whispered, "She said you cheated on her." I nodded once. She was hoping you'd hear that first. That's when Megan broke the silence. She's been acting different for months. Selfish. Like nothing mattered but her. Her voice shook, not with sadness, but embarrassment. "I thought maybe you were the problem. But now," she didn't finish the sentence. She didn't have to. The illusion was gone. Her family didn't argue, didn't defend her. They sat there in the silence she had created, realizing she had been living a double life while smiling at Sunday dinners like nothing was wrong. And when they left, her mother hugged me. Quietly, carefully, like someone grieving the daughter she thought she raised. That night, my wife texted again. "I heard you spoke to my family. Why would you do that?" No apology. Just panic. The kind that comes when control starts slipping through your fingers and you realize you're not the only narrator anymore. I didn't respond. She wanted power? She could have it. Just not here. Not anymore. There's a difference between revenge and clarity. One is messy, loud, emotional. The other is precise, icy, permanent. I wasn't interested in humiliation. I just wanted finality, with impact. So I waited. Watched her Instagram stories like a quiet observer. A week later, she tagged a restaurant downtown. Rooftop seating, craft cocktails, and across the table from her in the picture, him. The man she threw everything away for. The one who probably believed he'd won. That's when I made the call. I'd already filed the paperwork. Already signed it. All that was left was delivery. And I didn't want it left on her windshield. I wanted it handed to her. With witnesses. Not for show. For truth. So I hired a professional, someone who knew how to serve papers discreetly, but without apology. That Friday evening, while she was laughing at a joke he probably stole from Twitter, the server approached the table. Calm. Unassuming. A manila envelope in hand. She barely looked up until her name was spoken. He said it clearly. Formally. She froze. The envelope hit the table like a gavel. He nodded once, then walked away. No scene. No explanation. Just reality. She opened it right there. Her fingers shook. Her laughter died in her throat. And then, like clockwork, her expression changed. Not sadness. Not shock. Just fear. The man across from her looked confused, maybe even a little amused. Until she said something fast, low, but urgent. He leaned in. Read the top page. And leaned back like he'd touched a hot stove. Suddenly, he wasn't the winner. He was the prop. Because she had told him she was separated. That I was unstable. That she was the victim. And now, he was realizing the version she sold him wasn't real. He stood up first. Left cash on the table. Didn't even finish his drink. She called after him, quietly at first, then louder. People noticed. Phones turned. Eyes followed. She stayed seated, alone, envelope wide open, her reputation unraveling under string lights and overpriced cocktails. I didn't post about it. Didn't brag. Didn't tell Melissa. Didn't tell her family. This wasn't for them. It was for her. So she'd remember the moment the truth came for her, not through screaming, but through silence. That night, she didn't text, didn't call, didn't post a thing, because for the first time, she had nothing left to spin. And I slept like a stone. I expected it. After everything, being locked out, losing her friend, losing her family, getting served in public, there was no way she'd go down without trying to rewrite the story. People like her never admit the fall. They try to paint the floor as the ceiling. She waited a few days. Then, on a quiet Tuesday morning, I woke up to a flood of notifications. My name was in the air again. Only this time, not from court or lawyers, from her. She posted one of those long, carefully crafted healing stories on Instagram. You know the kind, blurry black and white selfie, captioned with spiritual buzzwords and veiled accusations. She wrote about narcissistic cycles, about emotional distance, about how cheating doesn't start in the bedroom. It starts in the heart. No names, of course, but everyone knew. People started reacting. The sympathy rolled in. The sad face emojis. The fake support from friends who disappeared when things got inconvenient. She was trying to pull them back, trying to make herself the protagonist again. And for a second, it worked. Until Melissa spoke. No theatrics. No hashtags. No drama. Just one post. One screenshot. One caption. It was the message my wife sent her 2 months ago, the one that said, "I'm done with him. Just dragging it out until I've saved enough to move. Let him cry." Melissa didn't even tag her. Didn't need to. Everyone knew. The contrast was brutal. On one side, her curated victimhood. On the other, her unfiltered plan. Comments turned quick. Support vanished. Silence spread. And she deleted the post within the hour. But the damage was done. Because now, even her last tool, the narrative, was stripped away. I didn't comment. Didn't share. Didn't even like Melissa's post. The silence was enough. It had done what no argument ever could. It showed who she really was. Not through rage. Through exposure. She didn't text me after that. Didn't apologize. Didn't spin. She just disappeared. The digital version of her went quiet. And maybe for the first time in her life, she had to sit with what she'd created, without an audience, without applause, without an escape route. And me? I moved forward. One unread message, one deleted file, one quiet decision at a time. Because that's the thing about silence. It doesn't just protect you. It cleanses everything around you. And what it leaves behind is only what deserves to stay. It came in at 2:13 a.m. The time she used to crawl into bed after pretending to be out with the girls. The hour when her voice got softer, faker, when she thought darkness could hide intention. Her message wasn't long. I miss who we were. You were always my safe place. I wish things had been different. No punctuation. No apology. Just a reach in the dark, hoping for warmth. I stared at it for a while. Not because I didn't know how to respond, but because I knew I wouldn't. What she missed wasn't me. It was the version of me that tolerated her lies. That cooked for her after she ignored me. That made excuses for her mood swings. That believed girls' night actually meant anything innocent. That man was dead. She didn't miss the relationship. She missed the leverage. I didn't delete the message. I didn't archive it. I left it exactly as it was, unread. Let it sit in her sent folder like a stone in her gut. The next morning, I posted a photo. No captions. No quotes. Just a shot from the coast, where I'd gone solo to breathe. Just me, the ocean, and a sunrise. People liked it. A few commented. Melissa sent a fire emoji. I didn't respond to anyone. Because this wasn't for them. It was for her. She saw it. I know she did. Because 3 minutes later, she unsent the message. But it didn't matter. It was still in my notifications. Still burned into the timeline. Still archived in the quiet place where her voice no longer reached. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need a speech. I just needed her to know. She doesn't get to narrate anymore. She doesn't get the last word. And most importantly, she doesn't exist in my world now. No photos. No memories. No return address. She laughed when she told me to find someone else if I wanted intimacy. She didn't know that silence was more intimate than any touch. And now? Now she lives in it. Alone. No drama. No storm. Just that quiet, hollow echo where I used to be. I'm not bitter. I'm not broken. I'm better. And the most brutal part? I never even said goodbye. What would you have done in my place? If the story hit you, leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe. It only gets stronger from here.